and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. We want to thank everyone that is subscribed to both the Dr. Mumbi Live and the Dr. Mumbi Show. The Dr. Mumbi Live, that's where we're putting all our news right now. So make sure you subscribe, beloveds. And if you have subscribed, make sure you haven't been unsubscribed. And also, we will be bringing brand new, amazing content. So much is happening. I told you guys, move in silence. I've also been moving in silence, and I will be sharing some major developments on that channel very, very soon. So, in case you have any stories that you would like us to feature on this channel relating to the great awakening of global Black Africa, as well as, exposing some of the New World Order agendas that are out there, definitely hit me up. And special shout out to our Patreon family and everyone who has supported us through PayPal. I'll give a shout out of names next time. Now, remember, I've been talking quite a lot about Mozambique, beloveds. And, it's so funny because last year, Cyclone Idai happened. I think it's Cyclone Idai on the Mozambican coast. And it felt like a HARP event. Then all of a sudden, and I told you, Mozambique has like a whole ruby belt, like one of the longest ruby belts in the world. But they also have this gas. And I think the gas so now the British sold us funding Total, which is a French company, to explore gas in one of the biggest deals that the British taxpayer has ever invested in. And this is basically like a fossil fuels, old technology, does a lot of damage to the environment. But what if, this is just my opinion, but what if that the incident, the Cyclone Idai last year is actually connected to the fact that now, like, all of a sudden there's gas and they're going to be exploring it? What if they triggered something? Because that was just a horrific event. But what has happened now, I told you guys that so there's been a lot that's been happening in Mozambique. There's been a lot of insecurity, especially in that area. I think it's called Cabo Delgado or something like that, where the gas is, where all the gems are. And I think even some jihadists, although you never know, maybe they're homegrown revolution. Who knows what they are? Because we don't hear their opinion. We don't hear from them. We don't know who's doing this. But there's been a lot of instability in the nation. And they were even talking about the French and U.S. troops coming in. Well, now, get this. We've got to connect the dots, beloveds. A Mozambican newspaper headquarters was torched after leaking state documents. And it didn't just leak any old state documents. So this is one of the local, it's called Canal de Mozambique. And it's one of the local investigative, independent of government news, newspapers, etc., news agencies. And they have angered the government before because they've published a lot of leaked documents. So now, apparently, the leaked documents, so they angered the government, although no one has taken responsibility. The government in Maputo has said that they're going to investigate what happened. But what happened is that the head office of this investigative newspaper in Mozambique that had angered the government by leaking confidential documents has been destroyed in a suspected arson attack. I swear, politics in Africa is so gangster. We're still burning down newspapers. Although, anyway, I won't get into that. So the privately owned Canal de Mozambique was sued by the state actually in June after publishing confidential contracts between the government and gas exploration companies operating in the restive northern of Cabo Delgado. And this is how we found out that the British were paying $1 billion, not to the Mozambicans, whose heritage this is, but to Total, to now, maybe these are the guys who leaked this information that we found online. Anyway, so what they said is that the leaked documents also showed This is the part. The leaked documents also showed that there were plans to send troops to protect the firms from insurgents that have been wreaking havoc in the area since 2017. And we've seen a lot of this happening. And maybe this explains why there's such a huge foreign military presence across Africa. It actually has nothing to do with, training Africa or governments, but it's to protect their assets. Even the Chinese who had started moving in their armies last year to protect their assets. So it looks like this is the same thing that a lot of these foreign militaries do. And remember, I released a story I think last week, where I talked about how, U.S. special ops are in at least 22 countries. What do you think they're doing there? Of course, people are protecting their interests. And now it makes sense, because I was wondering, people keep saying that the last war is going to be in Africa. I curse that, I cancel it. But, they've been saying the troops have been moving in. And I keep wondering why. And it's because Africa is the gem basket, the gold basket, the ruby basket, the food basket, the fruit, everything, the life basket of the world. And so a lot of these, Babylon knows what time it is. They've been working so hard to bring down, they know the matrix is collapsing, because our time has come. And it's not so much even about us, it's about our ancestors who are stepping forward now and saying and doing what needs to be done with those of us that are ready. So now this makes sense. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe it wasn't even the Mozambican government, but maybe it was some of these foreign entities that had said they were going to move their troops in. The editor, someone called Matthias Gente, he spoke to the AFP, and he said, they broke down the doors yesterday for around 8 p.m. and set everything on fire with fuel. All furniture, documents, and electronics were destroyed by the blaze. We are not naive to think that this is a common crime. It is because of our work that certain sectors of society have not been pleased. Of course, the president quickly came and condemned the fire. Come on. I mean, do we even care what they say? They'll stab you in the back and then look at you and apologize. Nuts. But a lot of people have been showing an outcry. Even the U.S. Embassy described the incident as a suspected arson attack, but who knows who's behind it? Maybe it isn't. I don't know. If you're from Mozambique, please give us more details in the comments. Let me know what you think about this situation. Until next time, tuko pamoja. Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. MumbiSeraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. A recent report came out and it talked about how corruption is perceived in Africa as the number one obstacle to African development, to African integration, to African unity, and to the true liberation of the continent. A lot of people see that, many governments across the continent actually not only do they facilitate, a lot of corruption, but even if they win an election on a corruption agenda, it's usually just like they're paying lip service, like nothing ever happens. We've never had someone executed because they stole from Africa. That's what should happen. We've never had someone put in life put in jail for life for stealing a couple $1 million. So every new politician becomes a member of parliament, becomes a congressman, becomes a president, becomes a deputy president, with the ambitions of being the next king of their nation, with the ambitions of being the next baller of their nation, because that's just how it's always done. And to make it worse, what is really damaging to our collective psyche is the fact that every one of these corrupt leaders appears to have gotten away with it. Although, karma is real. A lot of these people aren't spiritual. So, well, actually, a lot of them are brotherhood. I take that back. But a lot of people are spiritual. They don't realize karma. So you steal, and then you wonder why your kids are alcoholics, your kids can't get married, your daughters are barren. See how true that is? Anyway, stories for other days. So now, so there's been a lot of fight against corruption, but sometimes there's more willingness abroad than locally. And recently, an ex-Credit Suisse banker has actually admitted to receiving kickbacks in Mozambique over a scam of projects that never ever existed. And the scam was worth $2 billion. And what happened is that this banker, he's called Andrew Pierce, he actually admitted to taking millions of dollars in kickbacks as part of a scam that involved $2 billion in loans to Mozambique state-owned companies for projects that never existed, never took off, were never executed, etc., etc. Now, the plea agreement and all the other state records have actually been sealed, so it's not clear exactly, the full extent of his charges, what the agreement is. Is he going to sell out some people? Allegedly, he did willingly forfeit $2.5 million and an unspecified number of properties, and he could actually face 20 years in prison. This is not a joke, but this is huge because these are the same people that facilitate corruption. What have I been saying, guys? Last month, I'm telling you, last month I did a story where I talked about, what about foreign banks and foreign banks that are facilitating a lot of the corruption in Africa, and foreign media that don't talk about the foreign banks because they get such heavy advertising revenue from them. Then bara bing, bara boom. This is awesome. But this case actually started at the beginning of the year. And Pierce is actually the second former Credit Suisse banker to plead guilty in the fraud and money laundering scam. And he admitted to helping arrange bank loans to 3 companies owned and controlled by the Mozambican government. And he got millions of kickbacks in return. Now, the 3 companies he named, there was one called, I don't know, if you're in Mozambique, maybe this will ring a bell. There was one called Provindicus SA. It was supposed to do some kind of coastline surveillance. There was another one called the Mocambicana de Atum SA. There was another one called Ematum, which was supposed to do some tuna fishing. So they got a loan worth millions of dollars to do tuna fishing. And then there's the Mozambique Asset Management, and they were supposed to maintain a shipyard.